My name is Aitan Chatayat and welcome to I'm That podcast, where I get to talk to some pretty incredible people. Some are friends and colleagues, some are clients, and some are people I haven't even met yet. On I'm That, we'll hear from them about who they are, what they do and why, stuff they love or hate, mistakes they've made, victories they've had. They're all known for something, but by the time we're through, the hope is they'll have revealed some things we didn't know about them. Our talk may be deep, profound, funny, who knows really. One thing for sure, it'll be interesting and honest. So if you're up for that, thank you for joining me on I'm That, and here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to I'm That podcast, and I'm sitting here with a giant smile on my face because I'm about to introduce a really dear friend of mine, someone I've known for over 20 years. I will tell you all about him right now. Based in Thailand, Varin Sachdev has been working as a professional trilingual, which is Thai, English, and Hindi, broadcast journalist in Thailand and MC since 1995. He currently freelances as a news anchor and moderator for TNN Channel 16, World Today, and FM 101 on the radio, which is the 101 Morning Call with Varin Sachdev. He hosts and narrates the Oscar and other award ceremonies live on TV and at special events. He's inspired by The Amazing Race, which is another show he narrates live for his Thai audience for the past 28 seasons. And because he was inspired by that, he launched his own travel and lifestyle show in 2009, which is called The Nomad. And it's currently airing on TNN 24 and Travel Channel, which you can watch on YouTube as well, clips up for the global audience. He's got a bachelor's degree on economics and an MBA in finance from a university in Thailand, and another master's in television and new media as a Fulbright scholar from Emerson College, Boston, many years ago, which is exactly how we met. Varin, it's so nice to have you on the show.
What a lovely introduction, Ethan. So much. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Well, you are fantastic. And before we get started, I'm going to ask you just one question. If you can just please complete for me this sentence. I'm that.
Well, I would say I'm that host.
You're that host. You wanna? I know you, so I know what that means.
I'm that TV host.
Tell me, how did you become a host, and what is it that you love about it?
I think it started way back when I was young, in schools and also in colleges and university. You know, like I would be, picked by professors and teachers to be the representative of all my friends in the class to speak in front of the classroom, to do the presentation, to be the head of the group. So that actually became a trigger, for my interest in the career of being in the front line as a communicator. And then, one thing led to another. After graduation in economics from my bachelor degree at Thammasat University, where, during the college years, I was also very much engaged as the MC for the events in colleges, and during the MBA school as well. So right after graduation, I was initially working as the financial analyst, and then I made a crossover into television and radio because of my personal interest. Yeah,
that's a big jump. How did that happen? How do you go from finance to all of a sudden discovering entertainment and being out there, as you said, on the front lines?
It has always been the dream to be in communication in the media industry, but the education background didn't match. So it was just the opportunity. I was just looking around for that, while working in full time as the financial analyst for P&G, Procter and Gamble. I was looking for like a moonlight job, as the weekend radio reporter. And then all of a sudden, I got that opportunity to work on the weekend. I went in to apply to be a weekend reporter when they saw my qualifications. That you have economics background, you have MBA background. Why don't you do a demo for me? As the business talk show host, because we're looking for someone who can actually host a business talk show on the radio,
Hmm.
and one thing led to another.
Right.
People graduating from journalism school, then they could not really host a business show because they lack the the knowledge in business and in economics to actually pose the questions to the guests on the show. So
So,
I,
so
I
you're
I got lucky.
well, I don't know if it's luck, but you got you're based in Thailand, and we'll get to that because a lot of our global audience, I think that it'll be
Mm,
important to talk about Thailand. How does it really work, like as someone in broadcast journalism? I don't know if it's the same as what our Western audiences are used to. While Thai, your origins are from India, and
yes.
I would love to hear about that as well, in however you'd like to explain it. Like, because culturally, even though you're Thai, you don't look Thai. You look Indian,
Mm, hmm.
and you are.
Yes, I you still have to explain to many Thais that I am Thai, and I get this all the time. Oh, your Thai is so good, even though Thai is my first language, and it's funny. Well, it's not funny because I cannot blame them because I don't look Thai. I'm the third generation uh, Indian Thai, meaning like Thai of Indian descent. I was born here in Thailand of my parents who migrated from India during the partition in 1947. So we are already in the fourth and fifth generation. I'm the third myself. So but unlike many other Thais, who might look Chinese, but Indians in Thailand, they never really mingled much in terms of like cross marriages. So we still look Indian, but we are Thai. So that was a little bit hard for me to actually break into the media industry, and I can tell you that I'm still the only, or among the very few Indian face broadcast journalist in Thailand at the moment
Well, that
because
can't that can't be easy. I mean, I know that you're fully aware because you report world events, and you're very familiar with this. I know for a
mm,
fact that you are very, very much in touch with world events and everything that's going on, with all the
mm,
movements right now that are highlighting prejudices and
mm,
inequality. I mean, how is that being kind of, not, I don't want to say not the first choice, but there's probably some underlying prejudice.
yeah,
That can't be
it
easy,
was
right?
it was it was worse then when I was starting off back in 1995 when I broke into the media industry. But it's changing now that we have the social media and people are more aware of the issues like racial discrimination or prejudice and inequality, gender equality. But still, um, this is like in the background. Like people don't really discuss it that much, but they are aware of it, but then they don't discuss it. And well, I I I share this with my Thai friends all the time, without their realization that, like Thai people can sometimes be very
Sure.
racist without knowing that they are. They because they don't take the matter seriously. They tend to be racist, but they are unaware of it. I
Is
try
there,
to use myself as an example, when I highlight the racism issue in Thailand.
so is there an
Mm.
example that you can talk about, like that you feel comfortable talking about, like from well-intentioned people who might not realize that they're being prejudiced, or I don't know if racist is, oh well, you use the words racist, not me, but
Prejudice might be a softer word,
Mhm.
but it will be hard for them to understand because prejudice can be without race. It can be with the different social status. But what I've been experiencing, it relates directly to racial profiling. Because
Mm.
we have certain words to make jokes about Indian people in Thailand. We
Mm.
have even expression like when you see the snake and see the Indian, you hit the Indian first, for example.
Mm. Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So but that's not the case with the Chinese people, because Chinese people also came and settled in Thailand, but they mingled. I mean, they have lots of cross marriages. So it's very common these days. If you walk on the streets in Thailand, you see Thai people who look Chinese, but they don't realize or they don't see themselves as Chinese anymore. But
Wow.
I'm still I can still be seen or being joked at as being an Indian.
I think
And when
that's
when I start speaking Thai, they would say, "Oh, your Thai is so good." So isn't that like a racism?
yeah. Yeah. I
It's
think it's
not
when
prejudice.
it,
It is racism. But without,
it
as I said, without them knowing it. I mean, this is I think this is a problem, Ethan, that they don't know the seriousness or of the word, like like racism, because it hasn't been an issue in Thailand until we open up to the world.
well that,
Racism, as I say it, is the Western kind of uh, standard when uh, judging or talking in the when we have discussion in the society about human rights, and but that's like all Western standard coming into our society.
so yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, you've been in Thailand for how many years?
I was born here.
I didn't want to tell your age online without your permission. I don't know if you got the I don't know if you got
I
the
was born.
I was putting that on you.
I've been here all my life, minus those 2 years in Boston.
All right, where we met. So
Exactly.
you've seen the country change for the better?
I would say, yeah, because of this, so it has changed, of course. It is, among the educated people, among the people who are the middle class income, and I don't want to judge people by their wealth, but by education maybe. So education has been improving. So, and then people are aware of what's going on outside Thailand and in the world. So yeah, we see progress. We see changes in the society, especially in the big cities or in the capital like Bangkok. Where we have lots of expatriates working, and so it's changing, but. Again, it's not as fast as it should be, but then who am I to judge? Maybe this is the way it is, for Thailand. And I because I feel Thai myself, so I don't really feel Indian or anything. So I think that's just part of the explanation that I have to do all the time, using me as an example for Thai people to accept that, they can also appreciate the beauty of diversity in Thai society. It's all about education, Ethan. We just have to educate, and I'm really glad to be in the position where I could do that, for many Indians who've been living in Thailand or born in Thailand, and are facing with this issue.
So when you say that you're glad to be in the position to do that, how do you mean?
As a media, as a
Well,
media.
tell me how that manifests itself.
Whenever there's a chance that I can highlight that, see, this is what I've been trying to tell you. I use the what's happening in the news, as an incident, to actually educate the public about the issues that they have been ignoring, or they've been, turning the blind eyes to.
So it sounds like you make it your mission to highlight
Mm-hmm.
things that Thai society might not see
Mm.
in the attempt of kind of like showing them the way,
I
educating.
blend it into my content, because I cover international news on my TV show World Today, as you mentioned earlier, and also on the radio every morning. We I have a morning news call, 101 morning call, with Varin Sachdev. So we cover a variety of news, like local news, international news. So whenever I have a chance to insert the cultural issues, or the human rights issues, the democracy issues, the way I can, or yeah, I blend it into my presentation on my show,
And is
to make
that
them to make them realize, and then it's been well received. They've been more understanding, among my audience, and I can see the progress. So even all the comments on my social media, when I post about this kind of stuff, I can see that people uh, are becoming more understanding.
Is it something that is unique to you, in the sense that, I imagine that, it's an open press. People,
Mm-hmm.
agencies, news organizations share international news. So how is your angle different? I imagine
Yeah,
it's more personal, but you tell me.
it is. Well, because like my colleagues, other anchors or other TV or radio show hosts, like they don't have to do what I do, and sometimes they don't realize oh that's an issue as well, because like they never faced what I've been facing. So my angle is definitely different, because I carry the Indian culture in me as well, and so I'm not just a Thai. I'm like a Thai of Indian descent. So angles has always been different.
What's the Indian community like in
Mm.
Thailand? Is it in terms of the amount of Indians in Thailand and representation?
It is still, I would say it is still a minority, like, not even close to, well, no one has a real statistics of the number of the Indian people living in Thailand, because we have to combine both people who were born here like myself, and also the expatriates. We have a huge number of expatriates coming in and working in the country. So we have to combine that as well, and which is not fair, because even though we look the same, like me and all the Indian expatriates coming in, but but we function differently, because I am Thai, but they're Indians. So you see what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's
It's
it
complicated.
can be, it is very complicated, and but we are judged the same, because we look the same, we're judged the same by Thai people. So uh so number wise, I think it's close to hundreds of thousands, but it's still considered to be a minority. Let alone Chinese people, they mingle with Thai, and they have cross marriages. So so you'll see more Chinese face of Indian people in Thailand are the one who are driving the economy, as equal as all the Chinese businessmen as well. I
Oh,
mean the
really?
Chinese Thai businessmen. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. They are in. We've been driving economy. So yeah.
Yeah, so I can imagine there's probably some tension there.
Mm-hmm.
When there's an affluent community, with it
Mm,
comes envy.
yeah.
I'm
You're right. You're right, Ethan. Yes. Yeah. That's the case too.
Well, I think, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Being Jewish,
Mm,
it's not fun to say it, and I don't think a lot of Jewish people say it openly for fear of the response. But I think that where there is anti-Semitism, real anti-Semitism,
mm,
I think an
mm,
underlying trend or a common thread is envy of
mm,
the pursuit of education in our culture, envy
mm,
of a,
mm,
a drive towards success, many times financially,
mm.
but also many times
Yeah.
in the arts and in the sciences. And
Mm,
it does come with a price. But anyway, that's interesting. I actually
yeah.
wanted to ask you about
And I just want to give you one
oh,
example as well. That
definitely. Yeah.
when most of the Indian people, when they came during partition, when India was divided into Pakistan and West Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh. They came with the intention of going back. They didn't want to actually stay here. Because they were forced to leave the country, as opposed to Chinese. They escaped poverty to settle in Thailand. So that's why that Thailand is home for many Chinese migrants then. But it wasn't the case for Indian people. So we even have a word for servants in the home. We call servants Siaman, and Siaman is actually
Yamen.
Siam as a country. Yeah,
Yamen.
Siaman,
Yamen. Okay.
which is a word from the country Siam, and you add an at the end to make it a person, Siaman. So that's already like treating Thai
Yeah.
people, that looking at themselves as being superior, and Thai people are servants. So that's a kind of attitude that didn't go down well, among Thai people as well, because they were being looked down on.
Well, it's fascinating. Well,
So so
I'm glad to hear from you that things are changing. Hopefully, they'll change sooner than later.
yeah.
As things as things
I
catch up
know.
there. I you also have another show which which is called the Nomad, which I mentioned,
Yeah.
which is great, where you go off somewhere and you travel
Mm,
and
yeah.
you highlight the culture of the place that you're traveling. I'd love to for you to talk about how that idea came about, how you
Sure.
made it happen, where
Mm,
you've been, any kind of fun
mm,
experiences you've had, and also,
hmm.
you haven't been able to go anywhere for a while,
Yeah.
which sucks because
COVID.
it's such a
Yeah.
good show.
Well, it will come back. And so I cover international news on television, and I've been narrating Amazing Race live on television for Thai audience, like a simultaneous translation, a narrator, because it was live on Thai television, and they couldn't do the subtitles in Thai in time for the Thai audience. So and the audience loved it, and that show is was really inspiring for me, to see the world. And I thought maybe it would be nice to have the Nomad as a segment on my international news coverage, because in Thailand, when we talk about international news, we don't produce those news ourselves. We rely on the news agencies, which are most of the time like Western news agencies. So their point of views can be biased. They can also be like a Western point of view, so not necessarily the point of view that Asians like us, might identify or feel related with, or so. So that's why I said, like, when I look for a guest on to talk on my TV show, they have to be genuine. They have to be able to give their analysis, from a Thai perspective. So so I thought, and also, we have lots of travel show on Thai television produced by Westerners, and most of the travel show in Thailand are done in Thai, by Thai for Thai audience. So I thought, well, wait a minute, I have international news coverage on television. Why don't we add this segment, where we introduce international destinations in English to Thai audience, to elevate their English literacy as well. So we decided to launch the show, and I started working closely with all the embassies in Thailand, with all the ambassadors who wanted to promote their country, including Israel. So I was in Israel.
I
I
remember.
think in yeah, and I met you and your beautiful family there, and we travel. We've been traveling a lot, and well, last trip was Milan, Italy, Milan and Rome. That was January 2020. That was the last trip, and then but then the beauty of the Nomad is, we have two legs. One leg is to promote international destination to Thai audience, so they get to see uh, the world through the Nomad as well, because sometimes news can be
Distinct.
misinterpreting what's happening in the country. For example, like Israel on the news, it's always conflict. It's always like all the negative things, and people don't want to go to Israel. But when I was there, it's totally different. I mean, I felt safe, like the safest place on earth it could
Mhm.
be. So
True. It's true.
so Thai people need to know that. So that can only be done through my narration, through my narratives, on the Nomad, because so that balances off, like, what you see on the news, and
So,
acquaint my audience with the cities, the countries, they've been watching on the news. That's what I've been doing, Ethan.
so where did you've
And
been to Israel and you've been to Milan? Where else?
Austria, Switzerland, America, when I was covering the US election, so I added the Nomad as one of the episodes as well.
No, it's not
Where else?
all fun and games when you go there, because when I remember when you were in
South
Israel,
Africa.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
South Africa too. Well, I remember when you were in Israel, I I saw just how much work it is. It's not like a
Mm,
picnic. You are
no.
it's so much logistics are involved.
Yes.
It's a lot of
It
planning,
is.
preparing. It's
It
not
is
easy.
exhausting, it is exhausting because, like, all my friends are envious of me. Oh, can we be your luggage carrier? Can we travel with you? It sounds like fun what you're doing. You're like traveling all over the place, but we are when we're traveling, we're only a team of two, and you saw that, Ethan. And
Mhm.
when we multitask, like I double or triple or quadruple as a producer, creative, a TV host, makeup artist, a sound engineer. Like, we multitask on site,
I
and
think it's a very interesting thing that you just said,
it's
because
a
when
lot
you
of
watch,
it's a lot of work.
it's
Yeah.
a lot of work, but when you watch the show, you would never think that it's such a small um, team. And I
it's
think
it's,
that what's
it's
interesting is that today, especially, that people are beginning to understand, I think, how lean
mm,
you can be and not sacrifice quality. In fact, sometimes when it's bigger, it's more of a
mm,
headache. But when you're small,
exactly.
you can control. And what's interesting about what you've done to me is that you've been able to deliver your vision
Mm,
exactly as you want it to be seen, um,
mm.
which I think is very important for your quality control, personally.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Because I edit the show myself, because I'm the writer of the script, and it's my story, so I cannot let anybody else do the editing. So it's done by two people, who share the same vision, like one in front of the camera and the other one behind the camera. So like we share. I've been recruiting people, so I found the right one who share the same wavelength. We share the same ideology, and how we should present the world to Thai audience, to educate them. So yeah, I've been blessed, with the team of only two to produce the Nomad, because when you're a smaller team, it's easier for you to travel and then to be sponsored, by your hosts overseas,
Let me
when
see if
when
I
they
can
invite
get
you.
let me see if I can get
Yeah.
some advice from you, because we have a lot of creatives who listen to the show and
Okay.
a lot of young up and coming people. What advice
Mm,
would you give to them in the pursuit of someone trying to fulfill their vision, um,
mm,
of whether it's a show on a TV show, an online
yeah.
show, if it's a
Mm,
podcast, something like this?
mm,
What advice would you
mm.
give people starting out from the pros of wisdom from your experience?
My first advice for especially people working in the creative line is to be original, Ethan, because I myself, I don't watch other Thai TV shows, just to be able to stay original, because you tend to be uh, influenced by all these shows, their presentation style. You tend to imitate them without knowing that you're actually imitating them. So be original, I would
Mhm.
say, and constantly look for inspiration. Listen to your inner voice. What you are actually trying to say, and yeah, that
That,
that would be that would be the first advice. Be original.
I think that's very important advice, especially for creative people.
Mm,
Speaking about like the advice that you've just given, in terms of the
mm,
maybe indirect advice or inspiration you've gotten from
mm,
from other people, who are
mm,
the people that, if you stop to think for a second about people who have inspired you,
mm,
you have a like I know I can name one or two people. I'm sure you know one of
mm.
them who've inspired me. But like who are your inspirational figures that have helped helped guide you along the way?
I like Conan O'Brien. He's funny.
He's great.
I like his wit. I wanted to be, like him, because I really enjoy a sense of humor, and I think that's really important in everything you do. Because sometimes humor heals the world and heals the wound, and but again, with the emergence of social media, people can take it really far, and sometimes, it's just meant to be humor, but then they take it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Conan O'Brien, and philosopher. There are many of them. I Philanthropists are people who inspire me as well, and there are many of them,
Mm-hmm.
philanthropists
Mm-hmm.
and peers. Ethan, you are one of the people who has constantly been inspiring me of with what you do as well.
So
Being able to no, seriously, because I think this is important, that you should also look for inspiration, from people around you, because you represent the generation. So you don't have to really look for people from a different generation to be inspired.
well, thank you. But I know for a fact, if I may, that you love like uh like for example Rod Stewart.
Yes, I love. Well, I love Rod. You give me a few albums. I love music, Ethan. So you give me the Rod Stewart when he actually sang some standards.
Sure.
So yeah. So I'm inspired by all these vocalists, jazz vocalists as well, and I use their music a lot on my TV
And
shows. Because I
that's
think,
why I brought it up actually, because I know that there's a certain style that you like. It's like the
yeah,
composers, the
mm-hmm,
standards.
mm, yeah, standards, yes, bossa nova. I go by lyrics and melodies, yeah, because I think it represents the time and age.
Hmm.
Because we're now living in the year 2021, and music actually echoes and represents what's going on in the world as well. If you see the progress, or the evolution of the music, it says a lot
Yeah,
about what's happened. It says a lot about what's happening in the society as well. Yeah,
I find it troubling right now with the music of today. I don't know if I'm becoming an old
relate.
man. Yeah, I can't. It's just like I don't feel like I'm not a huge standards guy, but I can
Mm,
appreciate it.
mm,
I'm much more of a funk soul person, but even like
yeah.
there's the '60s, the '70s, the '80s, the '90s, and then all of a sudden, to me, it started to peter out, kind of like at least for me, appreciating music of the past 10 years. I
Mm,
I struggle with it, which is why when you said music, it represents a generation, the music that I've always associated with you, which is like the standards,
mm,
that to me is representative of a certain time. And, and,
mm,
and there's a nostalgia that I always equate
mm.
with you, because that's, whenever I hear one of those songs, I think of you.
Or whenever I hear Prince, I think of you.
Well, yeah, I think most people do. Terrible.
For
Yeah.
instance, yeah. No, and you see the wave of, like, going back for, well, this is a perfect example. This latest single from Bruno Mars,
Hmm.
"Leave the Door Open." It's the tribute to the beauty of the 70s and the 80s, right? Soul. Yeah. Have you listened to that song
I have heard
recently?
it. I don't know
Le-
too much about it.
l-
You want to tell us a bit about it?
leave the door open. Well, listen to it. Like, it's just like, an 80s, like a homage and homage, to the 80s. And you see the trend of people going back to the beauty as well.
I
Well,
I
not to offend the music of the generation. As I said, I respect all the music genres, and I think it's a reflection of what's happening in the society. So you cannot really blame them. But what we do as a media is, we show the current generation, like, the beauty of the past generations as well, because we are in the position to do that, because we have experienced those beauties, and we can share with them. And I've been sharing it with my family members, with my audience, and they all appreciate it.
I think I can see why you're such a great host. You're so diplomatic. You're much more diplomatic than I am. Comes to, like, the music of today, I don't know. But listen, I'm cognizant of time. I have another couple of minutes, and there's a couple of questions I want to ask you.
Sure.
And one is, what's the
Mm,
most difficult thing one of the most difficult things you've ever gone through? Um,
mm.
and 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 what did you learn from it?
because I'm a workaholic, so I can only relate to work. When you have to cover live events or breaking news, and you
Mhm.
have to pull all the knowledge that you've been accumulating, and sometimes people judge you because it's easy to blame people who are on camera or on the spot, and it's not fair sometimes because
Mhm.
that's live and it's breaking news. So and sometimes you say things that you didn't mean to say, and you cannot really feel in control. It's not
That's
like
happened to you? Is there a
pre-recorded.
specific example you can think of where you said something that's completely like, wow, what did I just say? Oh my God.
Yes. Like recently, Cardi B, for instance, I like Cardi B. Okay, not to be, and I said something which offended, Cardi B fans without knowing that that was offensive. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
a few days later, I was attacked on social media, demanding me to publicly apologize, what I said, and be responsible of what I said on
Did you?
television, for instance. Yeah, and then and I had to make that apology on air, and but that happens all the time. So that's really a challenging and becoming more challenging these days, because you are an easy target. And when I started off in the media, you don't have a social media then. People hate you, people like you, but now they can attack you because I'm a public figure, and I can be reached through my social media. So if you're not strong enough mentally, you can easily be broken down.
You have to have a thick skin.
A thick skin, and also mentally as well, because it affects your confidence, and it affects your emotions as well. That am I doing the right thing? And you know what I mean? Like it,
I
it really
do.
affects your confidence. Yeah.
I do. And I've been a public figure. I have,
Mm.
with some of the things that I do. And yeah,
Because I
it's tough. And
I've seen I've seen I've seen people who actually are not strong enough to face the criticism. Yeah, it's easier for people these days, audience to give you harsh comments on social media,
you
negative
know,
comments, and if you're not emotionally strong enough, that can easily bring you down.
it gets me every time because I've made a film or two, and they've had uh, quite a big impact on views in the millions, and then
Mm,
occasionally you get a comment which is, you let's say you work on a piece for a year. You come up with the
mm,
idea, the script, you put the team together, you film it, you edit, you record it, you go through all of that, and it takes a long time to put it out there, and
mm-hmm,
it takes up a lot of your life, really. And then you put it out there,
mm,
and then occasionally you get someone that makes a comment which is not, it just, it's a comment. It's so easy in the
mm-hmm,
space of 10 seconds to just like digga, 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 you type it out and you press enter and it's out there. And I feel that in
mm-hmm.
today's world, people appreciate less,
Yes.
take for granted the hard work that people, anyone, especially in the artistic world, but
Mm,
actually not only, also
mm,
business, because in this, people are much more exposed, and the people who are not doing what these people are doing,
mm.
they come in and very easily can say whatever they say, and it does take a toll. It can be difficult, so I understand that being very difficult. So I think
That's the most difficult challenge for me lately,
mm,
because it hasn't been like this before, when we don't have a social media, but it comes with the social media, and they are invisible, these comments, people behind these comments. Sometimes they can be a robot, or they can be the AI, or they're not, they can choose not to reveal themselves, and attack you.
yeah,
And you if you're vulnerable, if you're not strong enough of it is, for me, it's a good challenge as well, because it's actually testing me, that well, you really have to be firm about your belief and what you do. It's actually, I try to turn it into a positive things, to test my dignity.
Well, I think that's great, and I think that that's actually another piece of critical advice for those people who are starting out, is to have conviction with what you believe in when you put yourself out there.
Hmm.
I have one more question for
Hmm.
you, Baron, before we need to wrap up.
Yes.
What are you doing right now, and what's next for you?
What's next for me? Well, I still enjoy what I do every day, presenting news on radio and television, because that's like going to a new job every day, because you don't know what's going to happen on the news, right? So it's always exciting to go to work every day. And as for the Nomad, since we cannot travel overseas, so what I do at the moment is I take ambassadors based in Thailand or posted in Thailand on tour, like and acquaint them with my beautiful country. So that's another leg of the Nomad. We introduce Thailand to the world through the experiences of the ambassadors and the spouses and families posted here in Thailand. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Well, Thailand is a beautiful country. You're a beautiful person and a beautiful friend. I am so grateful that you agreed to come on I'm That with me. Varin, it's been a
Yeah,
pleasure. Thank you so much.
it's an honor as well. It's you woke me up.
I
This
did. I'm
is
sorry.
this is like we started at midnight in Bangkok, Thailand's time. So thank you for that, Ethan. I really enjoy it. Yes.
You get your beauty sleep, my friend, and we'll talk soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you and have a great day.
Well, that's it. Thanks for listening to I'm That Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to the show on iTunes, and if you'd like, leave a rating and review. Tune in for the next episode, and see you soon.